It's finally 2024 at the time of recording. Yet again, another year has passed, and Grand Theft Auto Online is still somehow popular. And in today's video, I'll be ranking the top 5 armored vehicles to get your hands on in 2024, as there are so many armored vehicles added in the latest updates, and just changes to the game when it comes to price tag, like the Oppressor Mark II now costing a whopping $8 million. Well, there's a lot to unpack. So let's start off right in the number 5 position with a vehicle that has been in the game for literally 8 years, the Armored Kuma. Now this vehicle is incredible for one simple reason, and that is bulletproof protection. Everybody watching today's video already knows about the Armored Kuma because I just can't imagine there's anybody playing GTA in 2024, even new players, that don't know much about this car. It is completely bulletproof, apart from a couple little glitch spots here and there, but for 99.9% of shells fired at you, you will never be penetrated while driving this vehicle. The only downside of the Armored Kuma is that it cannot survive any explosions, and when I mean any, I mean like literally a single rocket will blow up the entire vehicle. So it does have a downside, but the upside is the vehicle's all-wheel drive. It has fantastic handling, great acceleration, and it is, as we went over, fantastic for missions, especially any jobs as a new player. If you're trying to deal with gang attacks, you're trying to complete missions where you're stealing a vehicle and bringing it back to your vehicle warehouse, or getting special cargo, air freight cargo, the Armored Kuma is still going to be one of the best options, whether you're a veteran player or a new player. I always recommend for people to pick it up, and if you don't own it, I would highly recommend to get it. It's only about $500,000. In the number 4 slot, we have another vehicle that cannot survive any explosions, and to spawn this in, you cannot call your mechanic. You have to go into Manage Vehicles on your interaction menu and request the Vapid Speedo Custom. Now, I've talked about the Vapid Speedo Custom quite a few times on the channel, whether I'm doing setups for the Cayo Perico heist and I spawn it in for getting the plasma cutter, or I just talk about this vehicle being great in general. Essentially, the best way to think of the Speedo Custom is a flat, better version of the weaponized Tampa. You see, the weaponized Tampa, yes, it is faster, quite a bit faster. This vehicle's top speed is about 100 miles per hour, where the weaponized Tampa can go about 113. The Tampa's obviously got much better handling, it's a muscle car. But in terms of armor and mostly weaponry, this vehicle is just as good and better in the armor department. Let's start off with the weaponry. This vehicle features a remote minigun, and just like the weaponized Tampa, this minigun will blow up a car in about 3 seconds of shooting at it. As we can see, it's pretty dang insane at that aspect. You don't want to mess with the 50 cal mounted on the roof of the Speedo Custom. This is one of the only armored vehicles in the game that features a weaponized 50 cal that you can personally use without having to have a second person driving the vehicle and somebody else using the gun. This vehicle can also drop proximity mines, and these aren't your lame grandma's mines. These are the mines that if they get hit by any sort of explosion, or, you know, they get shot at, somebody drives over them, they will go boom. In fact, here, let me place one right in front of that car there, and as you can see, it blew it up in one hit. So this vehicle, just as dangerous as any gun-running vehicle. And then you add on the final part, which is the bulletproof protection. You see, the weaponized Tampa has no bulletproof protection whatsoever, which makes it pretty mediocre for completing missions, especially online missions. But look at this. First of all, this metal sheet covering the entire glass, completely bulletproof. Even these little middle pieces, as we can see, all the bullets will hit those and will not penetrate through the vehicle. And if you shoot the glass is semi-bulletproof, which means you can shoot up this glass quite a bit before it actually shatters through. You can imagine how somebody driving this vehicle, moving back and forth, while having these big old metal plates on the front and a remote 50 cal is very dangerous. As I said, the only problem is that, again, this vehicle cannot survive any explosions. So that means you can just do this, and yeah, you'll be blown up in about 1 second. But for the price tag of free, this spawns in with your nightclub for absolutely free. The upgrade's only about 300,000 in total. It's an absolute steal, and I would recommend everybody to get it. In the number 3 position, we have this vehicle right behind me. No, not the Insurgent Pickup Custom. We have the vehicle behind the Insurgent Pickup Custom, the Toreador. This vehicle is incredible, and I was tempted to put it in number 1 or even 2 on the list, but after weighing my options and deciding what the most armored vehicle would be for a public session, this is not what I'm going to be placing there. This would have been in number 1 if Rockstar still allowed you to do missions with it, because then it would have been just the ultimate vehicle. But unfortunately, in early 2023, Rockstar nerfed this vehicle, and now only the Vigilante is able to be used in missions as a missile-firing vehicle. Speaking of missiles, this vehicle is still very, very dangerous. It features homing missiles, and these aren't your lame Oppressor Mark II homing missiles. These are the same ones the Deluxo and, you know, the Ruiner 2000 get, that will instantly home on anything and basically knock it out of the sky. This vehicle is exceptionally good at killing oppressors, but it does have some downsides. First of all, 0 bulletproof protection, which is obviously a really big downside because, as you can see, the glass is everywhere. I mean, the vehicle is just one giant window apart from the back. So people shooting at you are very easily going to pick you apart. As well, while this vehicle can survive 7 homing missiles, the problem is each missile that hits it sends it absolutely flying, which means you can very easily immobilize it if you're using a jet or anything that can just spam rockets, especially a vehicle like the Deluxo that can stay in the air. So there are some downsides and weaknesses to this vehicle that I think limit its capabilities. But one thing I do find very cool about this vehicle is the damage the machine gun does. I don't know why, but the machine gun on this vehicle is insane. I mean, look at how quick you can blow up vehicles on the road. If you get behind anybody, even in a fully customized car, this machine gun will blow them up in about 5 to 6 seconds of shooting, which is kind of insane. And because of that, I still think the Toreador is a super duper fun vehicle. The rocket boost is just the icing on top. Let me know if I should have placed this vehicle higher. Obviously, I still highly recommend to pick it up. I just prefer the vehicles in 2nd and 1st place. Speaking of 2nd place, let's get right into it. Being this low-slung supercar, the Ocelot Virtue. This is one of the nicest looking vehicles in Grand Theft Auto Online, and I'm definitely going to be honest, that's one of the major reasons why I chose this over some of the other Amani Tech vehicles. But there's a couple other reasons why the Ocelot Virtue easily makes the 2nd place position. First of all, it's an electric vehicle, and that might sound a little weird, but for some reason Rockstar has electric vehicles surviving more RPGs than the gas-powered cars when it comes to the Amani Tech category. So this vehicle can survive 10 RPGs, the Obey Ominous EGT can survive 12, but then if you compare this to something like the Anis 300R, that can only survive about 6 RPGs. So it is kind of weird, but in terms of homing rockets, all Amani Tech vehicles are the same, they can survive 12. Now when it comes to missile lock-on jammers, oh yeah, this vehicle has no possibility of being locked on with homing missiles. That alone basically makes it indestructible, because let's be real, if you can't home on somebody, how are you going to kill them? What are you going to do, aim like actual manually aim missiles at somebody while they're driving at 120 miles per hour down the road? That's just never ever going to happen. Even if you do get lucky and somehow manage to hit 1 or 2 missiles, you'll need to hit 12 to finish off this car. So that's the first reason why the Ocelot Virtue is incredible. It's electric and it can survive a crazy amount of RPGs, but it gets even better. The Virtue is also completely free if you finish the Last Dose mission storyline. The vehicle is also the fastest of Amani Tech cars. It has the best acceleration, and heck, even keeps up some of the HSW vehicles on its lap time, which is actually insane. It's all-wheel drive, it's super fun to customize, it is just an absolute must-have vehicle. But I do want to put a little bit of a clarification here. All Amani Tech vehicles deserve the 2nd place position. Some are obviously worse than others. The Anis 300R, the Champion, and the kind of older ones don't survive as many explosions as the newer ones. But those vehicles do have semi-bulletproof glass, where this one you can shoot right through the glass and kill the driver. So there are some downsides and upsides to both types of vehicles, but overall, all Amani Tech cars are insanely strong due to the fact they have missile survivability and you cannot home on them. Plus, they can also drop proxy mines, which is pretty nice. They are just slick mines, but slick mines are still good. It means that if there's somebody chasing you, they're going to have a hard time keeping up. Either way, definitely recommend to pick up any Amani Tech vehicle. Pick up one that you personally like because they are an absolute steal. And in the number 1 position, we have still one of my favorite vehicles in GTA Online, and what I believe to be the jack of all trades when it comes to armored vehicles, the Annis Future Shock ZR380. Specifically, the Future Shock. If you buy the other variants, you will not have nearly the bulletproof protection. So let's talk about why this vehicle is incredible. First of all, it has a plow. And unlike vehicles that don't have working plows, I'm looking at you, Speedo Custom, this vehicle's plow, as we can see, actually works and will send vehicles absolutely flying in front of you. This is great, and there's a bunch of different plow options as well, which is really, really cool. Okay, so not only does it have a working plow, it has a rocket boost. And this rocket boost allows you to accelerate up to 140 miles per hour on average, making this one of the fastest sports cars available in the game, keeping up even with some of the fastest HSW vehicles. I mean, look at the speed we're currently going right now. It's actually insane. So it's got a plow, it's got a rocket boost. What else are we looking at? Well, it can survive 3 homing missiles, which, okay, sure, doesn't sound insane. And it doesn't have the crazy Amani Tech upgrade, turning off missile lock-on, but it can survive 3 homing missiles. It can also have bulletproof protection, and that is where this vehicle is crazy, because there's not a single vehicle in the game that has bulletproof protection and missile survivability. For example, if we shoot at this front panel, as we can see, all of the bullets get stuck on the front panel. The back panel is also completely protected by a big ol' metal sheet. It is only the side that you can shoot through. And even then, it's going to be super duper tricky to actually see where you're aiming because the entire panel is non-see-through. So essentially, you cannot kill the person driving the vehicle. Plus, whoever's driving it can completely shoot around every single angle. So if you're trying to kill the person, all they need to do is face towards you, shoot at you, they'll kill you, and easily get the job done. This vehicle is great for missions, it's great for public sessions, it is literally great for everything. It's fast, and it can drop mines, which is also incredible. These are personally EMP mines that I've mounted on it, but you can do kinetic mines, you can do a bunch of different ones. The EMP mines are great because, as you can see, it stops your vehicle from turning, and it also stops your vehicle from accelerating, and it just kills the engine for like 5 seconds. So if you spam these on the road, and somebody trying to chase you hits one, they're basically just never ever going to be able to catch you, and it'll just send them flying off the road. Way, way better than slick mines. The vehicle is just crazy. Yes, people might disagree with my opinion on this being in the number 1 position, but I just think that it's a jack of all trades. It has missile survivability, it has bulletproof protection, it has a plow, it has speed, and it's just a great vehicle in general. Plus, it has great customization going for it. Let me know if you disagree or agree with my picks in the comments down below. I would highly recommend to pick up all of these vehicles if you can, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.